Hey everyone. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope you all are doing happy and doing blessed and doing overall safe. This is my season 3 Mandalorian review. Now, if you're wondering why it's taken me so long to do a season 3 review of The Mandalorian, it's because I just got Disney Plus back, I just got Hulu back, and I'm kind of making my way through what I missed from 2021 all the way up to February of 2024. Okay. So I'm kind of making my way through all this. So before we begin the review, let's look back. And I do have to stress that this will have spoilers in it. So I am going to put a spoiler warning on the screen and just remind you that there will be spoilers. So if you have not seen The Mandalorian Season 2 or The Mandalorian Season 3, please be aware there will be spoilers for them as well as maybe other shows. Okay? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. Spoilers from this moment on. So let's look back to The Mandalorian Season 2. Now, remember, The Mandalorian Season 2 finished its run in December of 2020. Okay. So it was a really crappy year. We all remember that. But The Mandalorian Season 2 ending gave us one of the biggest endings ever in Star Wars. Okay. It literally gave us one of the biggest moments, the biggest endings ever in Star Wars history. And what I'm talking about is the return of the one and only Luke Skywalker. Not the Luke Skywalker we got in The Last Jedi, but the true greatest Jedi in all of Star Wars lore, Luke Skywalker. Going up, having his Rogue One moment where he is just going through bad guys like they're a hot knife through butter. Okay? Literally. He is just cutting them up and everything. And it reveals him taking Grogu and moving on. Now, we know in the book of Boba Fett that Mando got Grogu back from Luke Skywalker. We know that, okay? But this is the Mandalorian review. And the Mandalorian season 2 ended with Luke Skywalker taking Grogu and the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, saying goodbye to Grogu. Now, we later know that the Mandalorian got Grogu back and all that stuff. And we'll get to more of those connections in season 3. But now we're on to season 3. Okay. And I have to say, I'm really ambivalent about season 3. After leaving us with such a big moment, they give us this. What were they thinking? Seriously, what were they thinking? I really don't know. Now, let's look over the episode list for The Mandalorian season 3. Okay. So that way you know what episodes there were. So, this here is the episode list for The Mandalorian season 3. We start with episode 1, The Apostate. We go to episode 2, The Minds of Mandalore. Then we move to episode 19 or episode 3, The Convert. Then we go on to episode 4, The Foundling. Then we go to episode 5, The Pirate. Then we go to episode 6, Gun for Hire. Then we go to episode 7, The Spies. And then we go to episode 8, The Return. Okay? These are the episodes for The Mandalorian season 3. And you can basically break this whole season down into 3 main arcs. Okay. If we're going to use like the anime terminology, you can break this down to 3 main arcs. So, arc 1 is Din Djarin getting his honor back. Okay. That basically Din Djarin getting his honor back. And that goes from episodes 1 and 2. Then in episode 3, you've got this weird episode, which is basically a filler episode talking about what happened to all these Imperials in the Republic. Okay. And then you go on to episodes 4 and 5. Now, these episodes are really important because in these episodes, you see Bo Katan, who at this point has joined Din Djarin, okay, and the rest of his covert. And at this point, that she's trying to discover what it means to be Mandalore again. Okay, what it means to be Mandalorian again. Okay, so episodes 4 and 5 are really about her, basically becoming Mandalorian again. Okay, about her rediscovering what it means to be Mandalorian again. All right, and also about her come to terms with something that happened earlier on. Okay, then you have episode 22. Now, I want to say this is another like episode, kind of like the convert, but there is an important element to this. Okay, and that is that episode 22, episode 6, chapter 22 talks about Bo getting her army back. See, when Din Djarin first goes to meet Bo in episode 1, okay, she's a broken woman. She's lost her army. She did not get the dark saber, all that. Okay, in this episode, the pirate, or I should say, Guns for Hire. I apologize for in Guns for Hire. Okay, this is where she gets her army back. She has to prove her worth. Okay. I'm going to talk about this later on, but the way she does it is kind of like a cop out. It really does feel like a cop out. Then you go on from there to episodes 7 and 8, which is basically the War for Mandalore. Okay. Which is basically Bo Katan and her army with Din Djarin, the Children of the Watch, and any other Mandalorians they can gather along the way, going to Mandalore and retaking Mandalore, retaking their homeland. Okay, that's what it's all about. Okay, and it kind of ends, and the way it ends, I did not like the way it ended, and I'll talk about that more later on as well. But these were the episodes of The Mandalorian season 3. Honestly, this whole season felt really disjointed. I mean, really disjointed. Okay. I mean, you had like the first 2 episodes going in one direction. Then you had the convert, which I don't even know why they added the convert in there. Okay. I mean, it made no sense. Okay. Later on in like Spies, yeah, Spies, and I think it's either Guns for Hire or Spies, you see a scene that basically did it better than the whole episode of The Convert. Okay. And that's really what gets me about this whole season. This whole season felt so disjointed. It felt like they wanted to go down one path. Okay. And then about halfway through, like maybe on the Convert episode, they decided to go down another path. And then they changed their mind again and go down another path. Okay. I mean, it felt really disjointed. All right. It felt like they had no plan in place for this season of The Mandalorian. Okay. Like they did not know which direction they wanted to go. Like they wanted starting this way, and then they changed their mind. So they did a convert episode, and then they started going this way, and then they decided to change their mind again, and they did Guns for Hire, and then they decided to go this way. It literally makes it's literally so disjointed. It was literally like there was no one helming the ship. Okay. Like literally there was no one helming the ship. Now, it's not terrible. It's not a terrible season. But after what they gave us in season 2, they could have done so much better. Another thing that really kind of got my goat a little bit is that this show is called The Mandalorian. Okay. It's about Din Djarin. Okay, it's about Din Djarin and Grogu. Okay, it is not about Bo Katan, and that was something that really got to me. Okay, because I felt, and I'm going to be honest with you, I felt that after the first arc where Din Djarin gets his honor back, where he goes into the living waters of Mandalore, this whole season became about Bo Katan retaking Mandalore. Okay, that at some point they decided to push Din Djarin and Grogu to the side a little bit. And even with the ending felt like they were pushing them to the side a little bit because it ends with Mando and Grogu on Navarro in a house by themselves. Okay, with Mandalorian watching over Grogu. Now I thought it was cute that Mando adopted Grogu. Okay, I really thought that was cute. And I thought that was good and that was heartwarming. But just the way they ended it, okay? Because at this point, Din Djarin is supposed to be out teaching Grogu Din Djarin about being Mandalorian. And instead, he's at home just kicking back, relaxing. Okay? That ain't how the Mandalorian thing works. He's got to take this kid on this journey to learn how to fight, to learn how to be what it means to be Mandalore. And he's just kicking back, relaxing. I mean, no. Okay, that ain't how it works. Okay. Another thing is that they put such a big emphasis on the dark saber. Okay, they basically said in season 2 that the dark saber was like the crown of Mandalore. That whoever held the dark saber could rightfully say they were leaders of the Mandalorian people. Now, they basically put that out there. They basically said, okay, whoever owns the dark saber will be king or queen of Mandalore. Okay, that's what they said. So first off, let's talk about how Bo-Katan gets it back. So let's see, what episode was it in? I believe it was in episode 2, where basically Din Djarin is on Mandalore. He's trying to find the living waters, and he gets captured by some type of creature. Okay. Well, Grogu goes back and gets Bo-Katan, and Bo comes and saves Din Djarin by using the dark saber on this creature. Okay. Technically, it's correct. Okay, but they could have done it a better way. I just felt they could have done it a better way. Okay. When she picks up that dark saber, it literally felt like the entire season was about her. If I wanted to watch the Bo-Katan show, I would ask for a Bo-Katan show, which I personally think that Katie Sackhoff can do a Bo-Katan show. I really do. Okay. I believe that she did not need to do what basically amounted to a bait and switch. Okay. This entire season, except for the first 2 episodes, amounted to nothing more than a bait and switch, where they're saying they're going to focus on Din Djarin and Grogu, but almost 90% of the season is about Bo-Katan getting the rightful rule of Mandalore. And on top of that, at the end of the season, episode 8, okay, they destroy the dark saber. I mean, Moff Gideon crushes the dark saber. Okay, he crushes it. All right. I mean, if you put so much emphasis on the dark saber, why would you destroy it at the end of the season? And it's like I said, this whole season felt like there was no one at the helm, but there was no one there with one voice. It felt like one part of the season was helmed by one person. Then you had a break, and then the next part of the season was helmed by another person. Then you had like Guns for Hire, and then the final part of the season was held by another person. Okay, it literally felt like it was just felt so disjointed. Okay, and the whole bait and switch with Bo-Katan really got on my nerves because I think that Katie Sackhoff can lead a Star Wars show as Bo-Katan. Okay, I really do believe that. And I also felt that the whole war for Mandalore went too quickly. Okay? I mean, you're going back to Mandalore. You're going to resettle Mandalore. You're going to rebuild your people. You find Moff Gideon there. Okay? And basically, in 2 episodes, you stop him from doing whatever it is he's doing. I mean, seriously. I really felt like they could have used this season to set up a 4th season of The Mandalorian where it focused on the war for Mandalore, okay? Where it focused on them realizing that they could not take on Moff Gideon's forces by themselves. So they wait and they gather as many Mandalorians as they can. Maybe even Boba Fett. I know he ain't Mandalorian, but still. They gather as many forces as they can to go and take on Moff Gideon's forces, okay? I just felt like they really rushed the whole war for Mandalore. I thought that I really had this idea in my head that the war for Mandalore could have been something great, okay? And they just rushed through it. I don't know what the idea behind that was, but they rushed through that, okay? Now, what are some good points of this season? First off, there was a lot of connections to what we've seen before, also to Ahsoka. There was one big connection to Ahsoka, okay? There really was one big connection to Ahsoka. And I think that is going to play off in spades because I have seen season 1 of Ahsoka, and I do think that is going to play in spades to what's going to happen next if there is Ahsoka season 2. Okay, Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan, still a great character. Okay, I personally think they should not have done the bait and switch, and that's literally what I feel like right now is that they did a bait and switch with us for this entire season. And that's one of the things that really ticks me off because Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan can do a show by herself. If you wanted to do a Bo-Katan show where she gets control of the dark saber, where she gets control of her army, where she starts a war for Mandalore, why didn't you just do it instead of just giving us this bait and switch stuff? Okay. In fact, that probably would have been a great season because I full on believe that Katie Sackhoff can do a great Bo-Katan. She proved that in season 1 of The Mandalorian. She has proven that repeatedly in this season of The Mandalorian. Okay. So why would you do the bait and switch thing? Because it's just going to tick off the fans. And honestly, this whole season felt, I don't know how else to describe it but disjointed. I keep on using that word, but it really felt disjointed. Okay. It really felt disjointed. And, even, I mean, the season was not horrible. Okay. But it wasn't good either, especially after what they gave us in season 2. Okay. Especially like they gave us that great moment with Luke Skywalker getting Grogu. And I know they reversed that in the book of Boba Fett with Grogu going back to Mandalorian. But still, they gave us that great moment. And then they give us this season, which I really can't think of a big moment like that. And on top of that, they gave us that whole episode, Guns for Hire, where basically it felt like the entire episode was built around Jack Black and Lizzo. Okay. It's literally the whole episode. I was thinking, why are they focused on Jack Black and Lizzo so much? Why is Bo-Katan and Din Djarin going and doing this little detective thing? I mean, they're her people. Why can't they just take her to her own people? Okay. I mean, it literally felt like the entire episode was built around the fact that they had Jack Black and Lizzo playing in this episode. I mean, it literally felt like one day some of the writers said, "Hey, we need to do something kind of cool for this episode." And they said, "Oh, let's get Jack Black and Lizzo," and they were able to get them on this one particular day to do this episode. Okay, I don't mind there being like great people co-starring in Star Wars or anything like that, but don't build the entire episode around them. Okay, I mean, it literally felt like they built this entire episode around the fact they had Jack Black, Lizzo, and Christopher Lloyd. Okay, that's literally what it felt like. Okay, I mean, it did not make any sense why Jack Black and Lizzo, who are apparently the president of this little community now, okay, could not just take her to her own people who were acting as protectors of this community. Okay, why couldn't you just take her to her own people? Huh? Why? Why did Bo-Katan and Din Djarin have to go through this whole thing of wasting almost 30 minutes doing this detective story over like trying to find out why these robots are malfunctioning, who's behind it, all that, instead of just taking her to her people and her doing her thing? Why did they have to go through all that? It literally didn't make any sense to me. Okay. And I honestly felt like this whole episode was built around the fact they had Jack Black, Lizzo, and Christopher Lloyd. That's literally what I felt like. Okay. I mean, it's the weakest episodes of this series, of this season, I should say, of this season, was the convert and for hire. Okay. Literally, those were the weakest episodes of this entire season. I absolutely hated the convert. Okay. Now it wasn't a badly created episode, all right. I just didn't see any point in it. Because later on, there's an episode called Spies, where you literally do it what they tried to do in the convert better in that episode of Spies in 10 minutes than they did in the convert for a whole hour. Okay? Literally. I mean, in that episode of Spies, in 10 minutes, there's a scene where Moff Gideon is getting intelligence about what's going on with the Republic. They could have literally told about what happened to the Doctor. They could have literally told how the Republic is handling all these Imperial rehabilitation and all that. And she could have relayed the information about what's going on with the Mandalorians. Okay? Literally done that in 10 minutes. Okay? And I just don't see that point of having a convert when you have that scene in episode 7. I mean, if you're going to put it in anime terms, the convert was like a filler episode. Honestly, to me, the convert is that episode where the entire season changed. Okay, I think after the convert, it became all about Bo-Katan. Okay, and honestly, it kind of feels like a break. Like, okay, episode 17 and 18 are about Din Djarin and Grogu getting their honor back, and then you get the convert, which kind of breaks up the flow of the season, and then you get episodes 4 and 5 and 6, which talk about Bo-Katan rediscovering what it means to be Mandalorian again. Okay, what it means to be Mandalorian, not just a creed, but what it truly means to be Mandalorian. Okay, and getting her army back. And then at the end of episode 6, you see that she's going to make the decision to retake Mandalore, that she's proven herself to her people who have run off, that she has the dark saber, she earned the dark saber, all that. And yes, I do admit that the way they gave her the dark saber was kind of weak. I mean, just the way that mechanically it's right. It's correct in the form of canon. I just felt there was a better way of doing it. Okay. I really felt that there was a better way of doing it. All right. But then in Guns for Hire, it's decided that she's going to retake Mandalore. And then you got that and episode 23 and episode 24, or I should say episode 7 and 8, which basically is the war for Mandalore. She goes to Mandalore. She finds some Mandalorian survivors. She discovers Moff Gideon's base, all that. Okay. I mean, really, the entire season changed right after the convert. Okay. On that episode, the whole entire season changed. Okay. Literally, the whole entire season changed and went from being about Din Djarin and Grogu to being about Bo-Katan. And I just don't see the point when Katie Sackhoff is such a good character for Bo-Katan that she could probably run a Bo-Katan series herself. Why didn't they do that? Instead of doing this whole bait and switch crap. Okay? So in closing, let me say this. Let me just kind of put this out there. This is not a terrible season. Okay? This ain't like a horrific season or anything. All right? I'm just going to be honest. All right? But it could have been so much better. If I had to give it a star, okay, it with 1 being just a horrendous season and 10 being an incredible season, I would give it a 4. Okay, it's not something you want to watch repeatedly, but it's okay for maybe a playthrough when you have nothing else to watch. Okay, there aren't really a whole lot of episodes that really grab you and grab hold of you and make you want to watch. But it's something to kind of like if you want to find out what's going on in the Star Wars universe now to get ready for maybe Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew and whatever else is going to come down the pipeline, then yeah, I would watch it. Okay, but maybe just once. Just know that there are some really bad episodes, like The Convert. The Convert was a really bad episode. Gun for Hire. I mean, the first 30 minutes of Guns for Hire, I could not stand. Okay, they could have done so much better. And I know there's a whole bunch of Easter eggs, like the character that John Favreau made for himself dies in one of the episodes and all that stuff. But just the way they ended it, all the breaks, the whole disjointedness, the arcs, The fact that they basically did a bait and switch on us with Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, I mean, no. I mean, it gets a 4 out of me. Out of 10 stars, it gets a 4. All right. It could have been so much better. It should have been so much better. But just the whole idea of, like, it literally felt like they did not know what they were doing. Okay. It literally felt like they did not know what they were doing. It's not a horrible season. It's not like a god awful season like She-Hulk was, which I just watched, and I wish I could bleach my eyes out and wipe my memory of that. But it ain't like a incredible season like season 2 was. Okay. So yeah, I would give it a 4 out of 10 stars. It's good for like a one playthrough, and then I would just leave it alone. Okay. But look, that was my Mandalorian season 3 review. I got more reviews coming down the pipeline. I'm currently trying to go through She-Hulk. Okay. I'm almost completely done with She-Hulk. But yeah, I'm trying to get other reviews down the pipeline because I just got Disney Plus and Hulu back. I've not had it since September of 2021. So that would mean all of 2020, most what was left of 2021, all of 2022, all of 2023, and it's now 2024. So yeah, I've only had Hulu and Disney Plus for maybe about a month by now. But yeah, that was my season 3 review of The Mandalorian. Check it out if you want to. Please remember there were spoilers in here. I will try to get more reviews down the pipeline as soon as I can. But look, you guys take care of yourselves. Watch over yourselves. Y'all be groovy. Y'all be cool to one another. Check out my other video and my social media. And I will see y'all in the next video and in the next stream. Laters.